It was a cold, rainy Friday night, the kind where the world feels heavier, slower. After finishing my college classes, I was out doing DoorDash to help cover my living expenses. I usually did this on weekends, but something about that night felt off. Orders were few and far between. The ones I got paid barely anything, time wasters, really. Then, after nearly an hour, a decent order came through. It was 8 miles away, paid well, but the drop-off location raised a few red flags. Still, it was better than the scraps I was getting, so I accepted it without thinking much. I grabbed the food from the restaurant, tossed it in the insulated bag, and got into my car. The rain hadn't let up, it fell steadily, making the road slick and reflective under the dim glow of my headlights. According to GPS, the trip would take 30 minutes. That was unusually long for any order I'd done so far. As I drove past the campus, the city lights faded. One by one, street lights became fewer, and eventually, I was surrounded by nothing but dark, open fields. The rain blurred the world beyond the windshield, and the sound of it pelting the roof made the silence even more unsettling. Then I saw it, a lone house in the middle of the field. The GPS matched the location. I figured this had to be it. The driveway was muddy, barely visible. I parked at the edge and killed the engine. The only light on was a faint porch light, flickering slightly under the weight of the rain. No windows were lit. No sound, except for the relentless drizzle and the occasional groan of distant thunder. I grabbed the delivery bag and walked through the wet grass, shoes sinking slightly into the soaked ground. I climbed the porch steps and knocked on the door. No response. I turned to glance back at my car, now just a shadow in the misty rain. The field swallowed everything. I knocked again, still nothing. No movement. The windows looked rotten, rain-streaked, and lifeless. Something wasn't right. I looked up at the porch light and realized it wasn't wired. It was a solar-powered lamp, the kind that turns on automatically at night. No one had to be home for it to be glowing. And that's when I heard it, a low rumble, different from thunder. I turned and saw headlights cutting through the rain. A car was pulling up the same muddy path and stopping right behind mine. A man stepped out. He didn't say anything. Just stood there in the rain, staring toward the house. "Is this your order?" I called out, my voice trembling slightly. He didn't respond. He didn't move. He just stood there in the rain, silent as stone. A chill ran through me. My instincts screamed. Something about the stillness, the silence, the way the rain didn't bother him, it all felt wrong. Without another thought, I dropped the bag, turned, and bolted around the house. Behind me, I could hear him, splashing footsteps in pursuit. He was running. Fast. I ran blindly through the field, wet grass whipping against my legs, mud clinging to my shoes. The rain blurred everything, but I didn't dare stop. I didn't even look back. My lungs burned. My legs were giving out. But eventually, the sounds behind me faded. I found a road. I stumbled onto the wet pavement, soaked to the bone, and collapsed. A police car picked me up. They said they'd investigate, but by the time we returned, the man was gone. My car was untouched. The food bag still sat on the porch. The man hadn't come to rob me. His intentions were far. Scene fades into another rainy night. Windshield wipers squeak. A younger version of me, 18, on my first long solo drive to college. I had just packed up my life and hit the road, 600 miles ahead, 2 days of driving. By 7 p.m., the sky was ink black. The storm followed me, relentless. It made the road eerie and empty. Only a few cars passed now and then, headlights vanishing into the wet dark. Around 10 p.m., exhausted and stiff, I decided to stop at the next gas station. 10 minutes later, I pulled into a small station, just pumps and a tiny convenience store. Not a single other car in sight. No city lights. Just the rain, drumming on the roof. As I stepped out to refuel, I saw him. A man, large. Older. Soaked to the skin. He was walking slowly toward me from the shadows. Something about him, his smile, the way he looked at me, made my stomach twist. "You okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He stopped a few feet away, looked around cautiously, then said something strange. "Get back on the highway." "What?" I asked, confused. "Go back. Don't take that road." He pointed behind me, to the exit I had just come from. It was a one-way ramp. Driving back up would be illegal and dangerous. Then, just as suddenly, he turned and walked away. I stared down the road I was supposed to take. No signs. No warnings. Just a quiet, dark stretch of highway. I hesitated, then ignored the old man and drove on. I didn't make it far. Out of nowhere, a pickup truck blocked my path. Doors burst open. 4 men jumped out. Armed. Metal pipes. Knives. No masks. No words. Just rage in their eyes. I reversed, tires skidding on wet pavement. They were just feet away when I escaped. But then I saw them, dozens more, pouring out of the woods and roadside, like they'd been waiting. Some ran after me, some threw things. I didn't stop until I knew I was safe. I called 911, but no one ever followed up. No investigation. Nothing. Sometimes, I wonder, was that old man trying to save me? If I hadn't listened to my gut, I might not be here to tell this story.